welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to talk about the books that I am planning to read in February. February is a big month for me and for a lot of other people because we're reading books that center on the Black experience, especially in the United States of America, sometimes elsewhere in the African diaspora. So a lot of the books that I talk about in this video are going to be to celebrate Black History Month. But as much as I'd like to read only books about the Black experience, I have a lot of other reading obligations. So I'm going to be reading some Black History Month books, but I'm also going to be reading other things. So let's just talk about the books very briefly. I don't want this video to be long. So I have my reading journal here, and in a few days, hopefully, I'm going to give you a little flip through of how I'm using my reading journal this year. But for now, I just have my TBR written down so that I can keep track of some of the things that I want to share with you and that I want to keep myself focused on during the month. So, a few of the reading projects that I'm involved in. First one, I'm hosting a book club here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. This year we're focusing on reading Caribbean books, and so every month we're visiting another place in the Caribbean. In January we did Guadeloupe. So the two books that we're reading for the Runwright Reads book club in February, Here Comes the Sun by Nicole Dennis Ben and These Ghosts Are Family by Maisie Card. I've already read both of these books. I read this one last year. This was a new release last year, and this one I read a couple of years ago, but I didn't have my own copy. I'd read a copy from the library when I read it. So I'm going to be rereading these. So the first two books on my TBR are rereads for me, which I'm excited about. My buddy read group, we usually are reading Barbara Pym and Muriel Sparks. For Black History Month, we wanted to celebrate Black history, so we're reading Cain by Jean Toomer. I don't have a physical copy yet, so I'm going to be probably reading a copy from the library. This year I'm also doing a project with Doris from Aldi Books. We're both reading books that were recommended by Jacqueline Woodson in a magazine article. And we're reading a book a month, and in February the title is Brother I'm Dying by Edwidge Danticat. I don't have a physical copy yet, but I've ordered one, so it's on its way. I read a lot of ebooks from my library, but I also really love print copies. So speaking of print copies, I'm going to be reading this book that Doris from Aldi Books also gave me last year, and I'm ashamed to say that as popular as this book is, I'd never read it. I've read other things from Zora Neale Hurston, but I haven't read her most well-known book. So I'm reading that this year. This is the book that I started the month off with. So I'm reading this physical copy, and I'm also listening to an audio version from my library, and the narration is excellent. The narrator has a really spectacular voice and accent where she does these southern voices, and she can change her voice to reflect male and female speech, and it's wonderful. So it's great to listen to it as an accompaniment to reading the physical copy. So yeah, Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Did I say the title before? Maybe not. Other book projects. I'm also in another book club, and this one is with 3 other people, and we discuss so many different books because each month a different person from the group chooses the next month's read. And so this month we're reading Black Skin, White Masks by France Fanon, and it's fantastic because that book was mentioned in Maurice Conde's The Wondrous and Tragic Life of Ivana and Ivana, because Maurice Conde's husband, Richard Philcox, who translated Conde's book, is also the translator of France Fanon's book. And so I'm loving when my books make connections. So Black Skin, White Masks, I don't own a physical copy yet, and I'm going to probably postpone purchasing a copy until the new release is issued. There is a new release that's coming out, and I think it's not coming out until March. So for now I'm probably going to be reading an electronic copy from my library. Other books. So this was a gift from Patrice Jones, who is an awesome subscriber. She sent me this book last year as a gift, and this is Tambourines to Glory, a novel by Langston Hughes. And I've read Langston Hughes' poetry, but I've never read his fiction, his novels. So this is a pretty short read. This is only about 150 something pages, so I'm hoping to read this one in February as well. Other books that have been around, I got this from the publishers last year in February. I got it towards the end of February. I just couldn't focus on it. I was preparing for my trip to Jamaica, so I started reading, but I didn't finish. So I'd like to get back to this story. This is a memoir from R. Eric Thomas, and his picture is in here. He is a black gay man, but I was pretty interested in his story. I just like I said, I was reading it in February, and then I went to Jamaica in March, and when I came back, the world had changed, and I just didn't get back to that book. So hoping to get to it again. I'm going to start over, because once I put on a book for a long time, I usually have to start over. So I'm going to be reading that in February as one of my Black History Month celebration books. So we're calling that a publisher review. Other books that I got from publishers that I need to review: Black Futures, which is edited by Kimberly Drew and Jenna Wortham, and this is an archive of experiences, but it's also such a pretty book. So I'm not sure how I'm going to be reading through this one, if I'm going to be reading everything line for line, front to back, or just kind of going through stories. But it's talking about some of the people that we've lost in the injustice that has been done to African Americans. It's not all about people who've died. It's also about this is about Black futures. This is about things that have happened to Black people, both negative and positive. So I hadn't really gone through the book before, so I can't really say that I know what it's about, but I'll share it with you when I have gone through it. And this was a gift from Penguin Random House. Also from Penguin Random House, I got 400 Souls by Ibram X. Kendi and Keisha N. Blaine. And this is about 400 years of African American experience, talking about how African Americans were here in 1619 before the people who came on the Mayflower. So when people talk about African Americans coming late to the game, that's not quite true. So this is also a big book. This is over 400 pages, but a lot of those latter pages are notes. So yeah, it only goes up to about page 385 or so in text. So hoping to get to that one as well. Also from Penguin Random House, the Black Book. This one is magazine articles and historical archives over 4 centuries of African American experience as well. And looking forward to delving through that one. So both of those are from the publisher. That's also from Penguin Random House. I think I mentioned that. I also have a couple of business books that I need to review for other publishers. I think this is the only one that's due in February. This is HarperCollins Leadership. Sent me this one, The Business of We by Laura Kriska. This is about closing the gap between us and them in your workplace and bringing together people from a variety of cultures. So I'm going to be reading this one in February and writing a review for the publishers. Also, I think I brought these books upstairs and I didn't bring them back. Cuba, A New History by Richard Gott was a carryover from January. Ex Libris by Michiko Kakutani is also a carryover from January because I started both of those and didn't finish them. And I'm also doing a buddy read of Black Cabinets with Patrice and Doris and Heidi, and I don't have a physical copy of that one yet, so hopefully I'll get one. And then the last book that I have on my TBR, my extensive TBR here, no, 2 more books. One is Falling Home. I don't have a copy here. Maybe I do. It's under the phone, so I can't get to it. It's Falling Home, and I'm going to be reviewing that for the publishers as well. And then the last book is for another book challenge that I'm doing, where there are several prompts and you choose the book that you want to read to meet that prompt. It's a Facebook challenge that I participate in twice a year, and the book that I'm reading for that challenge is When They Call You a Terrorist. It's a Black Lives Matter memoir by Patrice Kahn Colors, and the prompt that meets is a book that reminds you of 2020 in some way. So 2020 was the year of the Black Lives Matter protests, and so I thought this book was one that I wanted to read. And that is also a book from Jacqueline Woodson's list of recommendations. So if I can read 2 books from that list in February, I'll be ahead of the game. So those are 16 books or so that I just told you that I want to read in February. Last month, I only read 9. But if I read 16 this month, then I'll be back on track. So let's hope that I can read all of these books. They look like a lot. And these are just the ones that I have here. They are a lot. And again, these are just the ones that I have here. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Subscribe if you want to keep up with how much of these books I actually do read. Would love to chat with you in the comments. Let me know what book you're reading to celebrate Black History Month in February. Let's chat in the comments. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.